So welcome back. For those who have just joined us, my name is Spaceman Africa. And yes, we are live on LocalnLive.
Hells yeah, I'm so glad we're back. I'm so glad it's back, man.
Joined by Dave Baratta. That's the dulcet tones you're hearing just there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But man, I'm so glad we're back. We got Spaceman Africa anchoring LocalnLive, and we couldn't have somebody, we couldn't have anybody better than anchoring the helm at this one. This guy's going to be taking us to it, and you know what? He's all things LocalnLive. You're in for a great show, and not to mention the fact that we've got a great guest in here, Spaceman Africa. Dude, what's going on? What's happening, big guy?
Well, my first show and now my first guest, my first interview.
Woo!
So this guy, his name is Craig Hand, a friend of mine. Welcome to the show, Craig Hand.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Spaceman. Thank you for having me here.
Congratulations for being my first guest.
Oh, woo-hoo. Yeah.
So Craig is on the show. Where do I start? So Catch Me If You Canberra Part 2. It's a Canberra song. It came out earlier this month. All right, let's start again. I didn't have Craig's mic on. All right. Sorry, dude.
He just sounded a little bit off mic that
Yeah.
day. You know, it could be me. It could be me.
All right, Craig, welcome to the show.
We roll.
My first guest and first stuff up.
And you can actually hear me voice now. How good is that? Yeah. So,
Yes.
what a privilege to be here on your first show, and talk about Canberra's greatest song, I believe, put on paper, and now is a musical tune.
Absolutely.
Right, so the tune we're talking about is called Catch Me If You Canberra, Part 2. It came out earlier this month.
Yep.
You had a big part in writing the process and the original that came out last year. Now, you were the guy with the original idea. You're normally an eco-warrior. You're a machine operator at a recycling plant. You're not normally known for writing songs. So let everyone know, let me know. How did this song come about? Where did you get the idea?
I'd very much like to know.
Yeah, well, I don't have a very musical voice neither in that sense. So, but the idea originally came from, there was a artist called Ostentatious, and he did a song on Australiana. And yeah, one night, many years later, I was sitting in the lounge room, and the thought came to me, like Canberra has so many suburbs in the sense of that have a rhythm to them, have a bit of you could sort of turn it into a bit of poetry. So I, just sort of sat down, got a pen and paper, and started writing down the suburbs. And like I said, when I originally put it on paper, I was more so looking for a poem than a song. And that's how it all started. And then, lo and behold, probably a decade later, I meet this gentleman sitting across from me, Spaceman, and I find out he's a musician. And I said, "Mate, have I got a deal for you?" Shared with him my thoughts about what was on paper, sort of thing, and what what he could do with it, because he's the musician and songwriter and singer and performer. And where do we go to from here with it? And I virtually said, "Here you go, mate, take it." And he sort of went, "No, let's have a look at it and see what we can do with it." So that was where the idea come from, and that's how this Catch Me If You Can, Berra, all started, sort of thing. So
I remember you came to me with the idea, and you kind of gave it to me, but I was like, no, let's do it together. I'm glad we did, because, you came up with more good ideas as we were writing the song. And then we got you singing on the song as well. Once again, you're not known to be a singer.
Sorry, you sang on the track?
I actually, was asked to join in and be part of the chorus.
Oh, that's awesome. Sorry. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So Craig lends his voice to, you can hear him singing in the chorus.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, how was that for you? Because we got you in the studio, your first time in the studio singing. What was that experience like?
Very nervous, it just something new, sort of thing. And I'd like to say I was excited, and I didn't want to, sound like a doof in that area, Like I like to think that I'm a witty person, but sometimes I sound a bit wankish, So, but with that, as you did Spaceman, you said, look, just trust the process, just go through. I'll let you know when to sing and when not to sing, and very rewarding at the end of it. Very nervous going through it.
Well, you did a great job, buddy. The bit I like is in this second one. You've got an actual talking line where you go, Kingston biscuits.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. I love that line.
All right, so
got the call.
Let's have a listen. If you missed the original, that came out last year. Check it out. It's online on streaming sites, etc. Sit back, relax. This goes for like 9 minutes, so get comfortable. And as you listen, see how many suburbs you can count. This is called Catch Me If You Can, Berra, Part 2. I woke up this morning with the sterling idea to travel around Canberra and look at its beautiful sights. I rolled out of bed and drew the curtain. I had to rustle around for some clothes, scratch my beard as I walked down the hall to the kitchen for breakfast. Bruce was standing in the kitchen with a cuppa and a biscuit, a Kingston for sure. I told Bruce about my idea and invited him to join me. I said, it's your call. Well, I'm going to do the Harold Holt and get out of here. Bruce replied, I'll be right with you. We closed the theatre door behind us and ventured out to see what we could see. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like a mountain tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. We jumped in the Ford with the Dunlop tyres and headed to the Science Centre. We saw Kenny at the Science Centre. He's a known-quested con man. He had a wife, oh, good grief, Moncrief. He conned her out of millions, but he ain't gonna bell conning me. He did a stretch at the AMC for robbing banks. Next, we stopped at the Canberra Zoo to see the lions, because the entry price was just a few nickels. The male lion there was called Arbor. We had to read the sign. It said, don't stick your hands in to pat the lion or arboretum. You'd be a wet lamb to the slaughter. We were feeling a little downer. We did a U-turner and went to the War Memorial. We ran into Mitchell. Oh, he's a big lad. He's as big as an Oxley. He works at the local Macquarie. He likes the Denman Prospect at Gold Creek. Mitchell was on a date with the two lovely ladies, Kayleen and Ainsley. He thought he was in like Flynn. He looked at Kayleen and wanted to hold her. At the same time, he wanted to mount Ainsley. That didn't go down well and brought everything to a halt. We decided it was time to Pialigo and we went the green way. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. We headed western through the forest and arrived at Parliament House. We bumped into the four Scottish lads, McGregor, McKellar, MacArthur and Campbell. They were sculling a cask of Oaks Estate wine. I, on the other hand, had a bonner idea to drink a bottle of Franklin water and eat a lime and cheese sandwich. Standing over near the Nutter Wall were the Irish boys, O'Connor and O'Malley. With all these Celtic guys around, we couldn't hack it. We were hungry and wanted to cook some fish up. So we jumped on the light rail. Sitting across from us was Philip. My mate Bruce asked me, whose son is he? Is he Dick's son or what son? I thought he was Moore's son or maybe Law's son. Oh no, that's right. He's Richard's son. Sitting with Philip was Taylor. Oh, she was up the duffy. And Philip was acting weird. He put out his cigarette in the mod ashtray. Bruce and I looked at each other. We were on the same page. We said, this city is all right. And Coombs. Round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. After a day of great places and faces, it was our civic duty to leave the city and head home across the Isabella Plains, because we knew Charm would if he could. We stopped along the way to rock the Canberra, rock the Canberra. Just in case there was nothing at home in the old Emu Ridge and freezer, we bought some fish, wick and chips for dinner. We got home and sat on the veranda looking out over the parks. I said to Bruce, I love this city, feel more and more every day. Round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. Round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. Canberra, that's where I'm found. Hello and welcome back. We are live
We are
on 2XXFM, People Powered Radio.
people powered.
I tell you how live we are. We just played the wrong song.
We did. It was awesome. And
So that was the original from last year. We thought we'd warm you up. I queued up the song. I didn't check it properly and played last year's version, not this year's version. We've still got Craig Hand here in the studio. He is one of the co-writers of the song you just heard.
Absolutely.
And also the sequel, which came out earlier this month. We got him on the show to talk about the sequel. We did intend to play the sequel. We just played the original.
wrong one.
Just warming you up
They-
for Canberra.
They say the original is the best, so we played the original. Now, we've had a huge argument here in the studio while that was playing,
We did.
whether we should play the second one
We are going
now
to.
or not.
I say yes. I say yes. Craig, I say yes. I'm putting my hand up. Come on, man.
Well, I'd sometimes like to hear the sound of my own voice, but, you know, look, it's a great hit, and I reckon the people out there would love to hear it, but I can't speak for the people.
I'm outnumbered. I was a bit worried it might be a bit too much.
Damn it, Craig's on to me. Like,
Keep talking, Craig. I'm busy over here.
no, it's fine. No, it was just like, I like hearing the sound of my own voice. Craig, we've only met each other for a couple of minutes, but man, he's on to me, like right on. He's going, there's a guy right there. He likes to see.
All right, I've been outnumbered. We're going to play the second one.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get it.
All you lovely listeners, sit back down and hear the second best song of Canberra Town.
Exactly.
What a
Best
great-
introduction ever. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Here is part two. I woke up this morning with a sterling idea to take the dog to the park and catch up with my mates. I rolled out of bed a bit too quickly and fell on the floorie. I stood up, drew the curtain, I had to rustle around for some clothes. I grabbed my long glow in the dark t-shirt and I walked down the hall to the kitchen for breakfast. Gordon was standing in the kitchen with a cuppa and a biscuit. I asked him, "Hey, where's Bruce?" He replied,
G'day, Fraser. Yeah, Bruce is ducked down to the shops to get some Kingston biscuits.
Just then Bruce returned from the shops. I told him about my idea to go to the park and invited him to join me. "Sounds great," he said. "I'll bring my dog too." So we grabbed our things, closed the theatre behind us, and we ventured out to see Watson at the parks. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, Black Mountain Tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. As we were leaving the house, there was a hawker on the front veranda selling Red Hill apples. Bruce couldn't hack it and told the guy to piss off. I said I was interested if the guy offered me a Kippax fair price. The guy said I could have half a dozen in exchange for something of mine. Ah, the good old barter system. All right, I said, I'll give you a packet of Palmerston cheese. Done deal. The guy was happy with that, and I now had what I needed to cook an apple pie later on. We jumped in the Ford with the Dunlop tyres. Bruce shouted, "Oh, cotter damn!" I said, "What is it, mate?" He goes, "Oh man, we got ourselves a Mulligan's flat tyre." I was like, don't worry, there's a spare tyre and jacker in the boot. Anyway, once that was sorted, we're on our green way to the dog park. Bruce's dog is a Jack Russell called Narrabunda, while I've got a little ACT, an Australian Capital Terrier called Latham. At the dog park, we ran into Harrison. I like Harrison. He's a good chap, man. He's the deacon at the local church and has a good sense of humour. He was out enjoying the lovely day, walking his two dash hounds, Throz A and Throz B. "Ah, good grief, Moncrief!" Bruce exclaimed. "Look who's over there." Sitting on a park bench was our old mate Mitchell. And you wouldn't believe it, with him, holding hands, were both Kayleen and Ainsley. I said, "Wowee, gowree." Mitchell must have patched things up with the ladies since the last time we saw them. Bruce chimed in with a bit of gossip. He said, "Word on the Bunda Street is that the three of them went to a Swingers Hill party together." "Whose dog is that?" I asked, quickly changing the subject. "Oh, that's Isaac's dog," Bruce replied. "Yeah, Isaac was telling me that he had to take the dog to the event last week. Things took a turner for the worse and they were thinking they might have to put it down her, but the dog has since made a full recovery." I said, well, that's good news. I guess all's well that ends well. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, Black Mountain Tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. This walk in the dog business was thirsty work. Bruce said, "Hey Fraser, you want to go to the pub for a drink?" I was like, "Yeah dude, cowabunga yarralumla, let's pially go." So we went to King O'Malley's in Civic. We bumped into the four Scottish lads, McGregor, McKellar, MacArthur and Campbell. They were having a drink with their mate McNamara, who was visiting from out of town, a place far, far away. We found a table and took a seat. I said to Bruce, "Hey mate, I'm going up to the can bar to get a drink. You want something?" Bruce was like, "Yeah mate, I'll have a gin and Berra, thanks." "No worries," I said. "For myself, I'll have a Kinley cider." The pub had a really good atmosphere. There was a live Rhythm and Hughes band playing in the corner. In the other corner was an open fireplace full of burning charmwood, keeping the place toasty and warm. Sitting at the table across from us was Barry. Barry is a well-known cracist. He dislikes anyone that comes from Crace. He was sitting with his lady friend Chisholm. Chisholm's claim to fame is that she once met the famous comedy trio, the Three Ronnies, Aaron, Sharon and Garen. While we were enjoying a few drinks, Barry grabbed his car keys getting ready to drive home, but he could hardly stand up. I looked at Bruce and said, "Hey mate, we shouldn't let Barry drive. He's totally girrelanged." "Yeah, you're right mate." Bruce turned to Barry. "Drink driving's against the law, son. Here, let me get you a bowl of Franklin water, help sober you up." Barry kept sculling his beer. He didn't want the water. I was like, "You don't have to drink the water, mate. No one's holding a gun garland to your head. But read the room. Everyone thinks you should catch an Uber home. Anyway, long story short, Chisholm called an Uber and the driver arrived in his Ford Fatten and Barry was taken safely home. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain, tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. Well, it was time to go home, but we'd had a few drinks ourselves, so we decided to catch the light rail. Sitting across from us on the tram was Philip. Philip, of course, is Richardson. Sitting with Philip was Taylor. Last time we saw Taylor, she was up to Duffy. But today she was nursing her baby boy, Evan. They were playing a game of Simonston Says. And just then, all of a sudden, the tram came to a screeching halt. There was an Amaroo jumping across the tracks. The tram driver, Mr. Troon, he did really well not to hit the roo. Yeah, well done, Troon. So we got off the tram at our stop and started walking home across the Emu Ridge. We'd had another awesome day in our nation's capital. And then, from out of nowhere, the heavens opened up and it started to pour with rain. There were torrents of water everywhere. Ah, bless the rains down in R&R. We were getting soaking wet. Bruce said, I'll race you back to the house. I was like, oh, you're on, mate. Catch me if you can, bruh. Going round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain, tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. Round and round with all these spacious surrounds, like mountain, tower, I see the whole town. Round and round in the bush capital town, Canberra, that's where I'm found. Canberra, that's where I'm found.
Fantastic track right there. This is absolutely live and loud. We hear. It's not my show. Actually, this is not my show. This is actually not my show. I'm going to shut up. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Spaceman. I just went into habit right there. I bug it up.
This song just will not stop.
It
I
won't,
tell you.
because it's so awesome. It's so awesome, man.
Just going round and round.
It's going round in
Well,
wonderful, great town.
None of you can say you've never heard that song now because we played it and we played it again. I've still got Craig Hand here, the co-writer of the song.
Yeah.
He brought in some stats to share with us. Craig, a lot of people ask me how many suburbs are listed. I believe you've got the numbers in front of you.
I do. And there's 75 suburbs, give or take, one or two. And Bruce gets to mention 15 times, very popular man. Russell twice, Chisholm twice, Ford twice, Fraser twice, and Mitchell twice. We also get 2 districts within the song, and there's 9 Canberra reference points.
And also there was Rivette thrown in there, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of single ones in there, of course, to keep you smiling.
Yeah, I know. Rivette,
So the reference points: Cotter Dam, Black Mountain Tower, Mulligan's Flat,
Yeah.
Ford Ridge, Duntroon, Barry Drive, Bundas Street, Kippax Fair, and Ginninderra.
Ginninderra, nice.
Whoa.
How many songs were making a second appearance in this song? How many suburbs?
How many suburbs? In front of me, there's 37 suburbs appearing in part two that weren't in the original, and 39 of the 74 in the original made a return appearance.
Whoa.
Nice.
Dude,
I'm glad you did the maths on that and not me.
Good with numbers.
Well, thank you for coming in on the show, Mr. Craig Hand, being on my very first show. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for sharing that song idea with me. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago now. So thanks for coming in.
No, well, look, thank you for having me on your first show. And I look forward to becoming an avid listener of the radio station as well. So thank you again.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you. That's awesome.
No worries. Enjoy, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Craig Hand. So once again, you're on 2XX FM 98.3. We've got time for a non-Canberra song. A Canberra artist, but it's not about. The song's not about Canberra. This is Sally Chicane. I want to be a tradie.
Nice work.
And welcome back.
Here we are. See, man, we're live again.
Sally Chicane, want to be a tradie.
Absolutely.
Well, we are almost at the end of the first show, my first show. What a ride.
You've been doing great, man. It's a great show, man.
It's nothing how I planned.
It never is.
Thank you, everyone who joined in and listened to this crazy ride we had today. Once again, my name's Spaceman Africa. I am a new presenter for the program Local and Live. I'll be presenting on Mondays and Fridays. Please listen again on Friday. I trust you. There will not be 25 minutes of Canberra. Catch you if you Canberra. But I mean, if there's people request it, who knows?
Oh man, I'm down.
But once again, thank you. Thanks to Dave. Thank you for
Appreciate you,
Dave Baratta, the lunchtime host. Thank you to Craig Hand for coming in today. Thank you to who else? 2XX Management. Stick around. There's plenty of good programming on 2XX, and I think we will leave it there.
That's it. I wish you guys health. I wish you happiness. That's the Spaceman and the Dave.
Ciao for now. Space out.